Video on here on Apple's iPad. Okay, there's going to be lots of videos on YouTube about it, but I'm going to do one because obviously as well I've had another lack of videos. But okay, here goes guys. Just open up Safari here. This is on the Apple website, the tech specs page on the iPad. This obviously came out on the 27th of January, which is about 3 days ago. Let me check that. Not that it matters, but no, 4 days ago, I think. Yeah. So guys, let's get onto the height. 9.56 inches, width 7.47, so we're pretty much going to say that it's a 9.7 inch screen, as they say. And the thickness of this is 0.5 inches, which is really thin. So if we move down a bit, capacity wise, they go in 16GB, 32GB and 64. Very similar to the iPod Touch, as I think also the next iPhone will be having a 32 and 64GB. That's what I think anyway. The display is obviously LED backlit. It's obviously got multi-touch on it, obviously, as I think all the new Apple stuff for touchscreen are going to have on there. If you look at the battery, they say here up to 10 hours of surfing the web with Wi-Fi. Obviously that's up to, so I reckon we're looking at about 7-8 hours, which is really good, if that does go up to that expectation, but that's really good. Processor, as they said in the keynote, is meant to be Apple's most advanced processor yet, this is a 1GHz Apple A4. It's just a little, high performance chip. So that sounds pretty good, but I haven't seen it yet, as pretty much no one has, Onto pricing, guys. It's the first model of it. They've only released the prices in dollars at the moment, but the first model, cheapest with just Wi-Fi, is 16GB, $499. And to go up to 32, you add on another 100, $599, 64, another 100 again, $699. Then there's another version of the iPad available, which is 3G enabled, which adds on to every level an extra $130. So the 16GB comes up to $629, 32GB $729, 64GB $829. Sounded like I said that wrong, but I don't know. So what else we got on here, guys? Mac system requirements. This is where they ditch in support for Tiger bit by bit. This only supports the latest version of Leopard. So, and it also only supports iTunes 9, but most of the new stuff is being these days, so that's dropped support for G3s because they only support iTunes 8.2. It says you need a Mac computer with USB 2.0 port. Everything says USB 2.0 port, but it actually will work on 1.1. Windows system requirements, I ain't really bothered because, I think really if you had one of these you would be a Mac user, but PC or USB 2.0, this supports XP, so I think that should support Tiger myself, but I'm not going on. In the box you're getting the iPad, the dock to USB cable, just the 30-pin connector, a 10-watt USB power adapter, which is really cool, and just all the documentation, instructions and all that stuff. Nothing else you really need to know, you guys. No one really reads the environmental requirements. Well, I don't anyway. So if I go into some more information about it, the Wi-Fi model, it says to be shipped in 60 days and the 3G enabled in 90 days. Internet wise, guys, on here, obviously Wi-Fi and all that's just, free and stuff. Sorry about if you can hear some background noise. There's TV in the room. But if you want to get internet on there, this is just getting off the connection now. 250 megabyte data download is $14.99 or whatever you call it, so $15. Then if you want to go into unlimited, that's $30. Well, $29.99, but so that's pretty cheap, I think, for unlimited. Obviously not as cheap as the iPhone. So let's go into people's opinions on this, guys. A lot of people think it's a bigger iPhone. Am I one of these? Yes. I'm not a hater of it, guys, but I just think it wasn't worth Apple bringing out because the iPhone pretty much does everything it does, and it's around the same price range, and you can do more. There's other advantages to the iPhone as well, such as the camera, the phone ability. So you got some people that like this, some people that don't. Obviously, some new stuff that you'll notice on here, guys, is the fact that Apple have updated their iTunes on here, iTunes store. They haven't updated it, sorry, but you can view it pretty much like you can on a computer, and the same with the App Store. And the iPod, it actually looks like iTunes, which is pretty cool. And then other apps, just little apps, they've done a few little changes, like your contacts, your address book, and all that stuff. You know, a few minor little tweaks. Obviously, the OS on this is a modified iPhone OS, which I'm pretty disappointed with. As you can see, main changes, you can have a background, and the dock is 3D, which they'll probably bring out in the next iPhone. Not sure about the 3D dock, but I reckon my opinion, if you put it to landscape, it'll be an available option, you know. What else can I say about this? So I'll just get some pictures up for it if you get for you. Alright, so there's this, you all obviously know what it looks like, but there's this picture of it there, front and back. That's the thickness. As you can see, it is pretty thin, guys, but, stuff is getting thinner and thinner these days. It's not the best looking thing in the world. I mean, it is just like a bigger iPhone. I think it's probably actually thinner, but, and it'd feel a bit weird holding that in your hands, I think. If I just go back onto Safari for a sec. If you go down here, you can get accessories for it. So, here now we will have... This is the iPod keyboard dock. So you dock that into the 30-pin connector, and that's connected up to a keyboard. So you can obviously use stuff like that, because you can obviously run, iWork on here, which is pretty damn good. But is it worth, as I say again, bringing a whole new product out? So that don't look too bad, I mean, I don't know if it works with the iPhone. I still think it'd look a bit weird, but I think it'd be pretty cool. But I don't know. It is just a 30-pin connector, so it probably will, but I don't know. The iPod case, this has got a couple of little advantages to it. Like, you can swing the front door around, this front door. Swing it around to the back, and you can use it as a little stand, as they've got a picture here. That's going to come up. Yeah. So then you can use it as like a little keyboard, view the screen a bit there. For when you're watching movies and all that stuff, you can pull it around some weird way, and then you can watch it like that, which is pretty cool. And that's all the really good ones that you need to know, really. That's pretty much all it does. Then you've got all that stuff there. And then you've obviously got an iPad dock, just a basic dock. And then all this stuff. iPad camera connection kit. I haven't really looked at any of that, guys. I'm not really interested. I'm not going to be buying this. Not that... Obviously the main reason is because I don't have the money, but even if I did have the money, I wouldn't buy it anyway. I much prefer the iPhone. I've been reading lots of forums, and I'd say most people really don't like this, guys. There's lots of haters on YouTube. Don't forget, it's not coming out for about another, maybe 2 months-ish, so they could do some changes for it, but I doubt it very much. Another stupid thing, guys, I've been talking about this with my mates. As you can see here, the unlocking is just like an iPhone. It's like the same size. That looks stupid. Look at the home screen, guys. They could have... It's 9.7 inches. They could have took way more advantage of that. It's a bit stupid. So I think that's all I can show you guys. My opinion on this. I'm not a hater of it, but I really don't like it. I don't think it was worth Apple bringing it out. I wouldn't advise people to buy it. I'd much advise them to buy an iPhone instead. They can pretty much do all the same stuff. And their iBook store, that's pretty good. It sounds good, but I reckon they're going to make a version of it for the iPhone. Not Apple, but I think there'll be some sort of hack out there. Or there'll definitely be something, on jailbroken iPhones and all that stuff that can do it. So I'm going to stop this video now, guys. Once again, I've done this on my iBook because I'm having problems with the screen and the Power Mac, so I've had to record this on here. So it's going to be a bit slower and stuff, and I got to edit it on here. But this video should be up to date. So thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Oops.